Why would you dump water on a carpet?
It'll dry.
That's not what you do.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Yeah, it is.
Were you raised by wolves?
Yes, I was. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You gotta get water somewhere, so just
The carpet.
carpet will dry. You just sprinkle the water.
That's not. No.
Huh?
No.
We'll talk about it on the show.
Oh, we're doing a show?
Well, you're gonna do a show.
Oh. Okay.
What's up? It's the Sound Guys. My name is Crispin Smith, and this is my friend over here.
I am the neighborhood Nick.
Hello, neighborhood Nick. We are the Sound Guys Podcast.com, your daily dose of background noise, and everything else and special in between. What are we talking about today, neighborhood Nick?
Well, apparently we're talking about watering carpets.
Water and carpets, you say?
Watering carpets. That's what he did today.
Ha 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 ha. How's my audio, Kevin?
Calm down, Mark.
No, listen. I think that Chris, neighborhood Nick over here has a misunderstanding as to how it's important to leverage time against getting things done. There was a little bit of water in the bottom of a water bottle, and I don't feel comfortable drinking with those little dregs of water, because you never know what botulisms and bacteria and alien implantations that could have been put into the water. So instead of walking and spending another 30 seconds one way back, that'd be a full minute round trip, I opted to take the water and just kind of sprinkle it on the carpet a bit, just to kind of let it dry. It'll dry.
And there's water stains on the carpet.
Maybe there'll be water stains, but it doesn't matter. It's not like this carpet was, premium anyways. And water stains
It should have been.
Water stains can be removed. And so I opted to go with the quicker route. And so I gave a little bit of a sprinkling and emptied the bottle, threw the bottle away, and now it can be recycled and we can move on with our lives. What's wrong with that? Mr. I eat barbecue sauce out of a cup.
Because it's delicious.
See, no. There's a set of double standards.
That's very different.
No.
I didn't waste anything. You did.
How come my hair and my face, I kind of look like Hitler right now. I don't particularly care about that. I mean, honestly, the way I'm sitting here, I look almost, wow. Maybe that's my calling. Maybe I'm supposed to be the next Hitler. I don't know. Huh. How old was Hitler when he got started?
Late 30s, early 40s, I think.
Early 40s. Okay, I got some time. What was it, Kentucky Fried Chicken? Colonel Sanders didn't start his restaurant until he was like 59, 60 years old.
This is true.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still time. Let that be some motivation, guys. Hitler didn't get started until he was 40. And Colonel Sanders didn't get started until he was 60.
We can find out for sure.
So, I mean, yeah. And Jesus Christ laid down his life when he was, 38?
36.
36. So there's something in there for everyone, guys. I mean, pick your poison.
How old was Hitler when he became a dictator?
Yeah, how old was Hitler when he got... No, this is unfortunate. Oh, you got that British Bigsby nonsense. Seriously, I need to change my hair because this is ridiculous. I look too much like Hitler.
Let's see.
How about that? For those who are watching the YouTube, you're like,
when was
Jesus.
Hitler born?
I think it's because, yeah, that's better. That's better. Whew. Now, a little better. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just because of my big nose. My big nose is creating a shadow under it so that it's really accentuating my 5 o'clock shadow, which is making me look like I have a little Hitler stash. That's craziness. Huh. Well, good to know. Good to know. My nose, though, let's just be honest. Can we take a moment for those that are watching the YouTube to appreciate the size of my nose?
You have to turn to the side.
I mean, my goodness, look at that.
Keep going.
Oh, would you
keep going?
Look at that schnoz. It's like I got an elbow stuck to my face. It's amazing.
It is.
I stick it out of my car window, use it as a sail. It's great.
It's prominent.
Oh, it's prominent. It's amazing. But, and I think,
It's a powerful nose.
You know what they say about men with big bulbousy noses? They can smell flowers much better. Smell of the flowers are smelly. Big smells. Big feels. Yep. Well, you don't. Well, whatever. Anyways, but yeah, so this is the soundguyspodcast.com. We talk about anything and everything, and we're your daily background dose of noise because we really enjoy our customers.
We usually try to keep people updated on the latest, innovative event news and tech hardware, but unfortunately there hasn't been a whole lot lately.
No, there has not been a whole lot lately.
So the podcast has drastically turned into conspiracy theories and random rants about fast food and sadness in life.
Well, yeah, life is nothing but a series of down endings, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Well, because there hasn't. I mean, we have chip shortages. We have. I mean, shoot, you can't even really talk about new cars coming out because, the cars are kind of in limbo. People aren't making vehicles as much as they can.
Everyone is just repeating the same models. There's nothing new coming.
You've got Nikola Truck Company finally came up with a real truck, but I mean, I who knows?
They'll sometime get back into the game.
Yeah, it's just. But life is short. Life is short. But do you want to know what else isn't short though?
Your attention span.
No. The Great Wall of China. It's massive.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It's 13,000 miles to be exact. It's crazy. Absolutely massive.
I've only walked 3 miles of it.
Do you want to know what else is massive?
My mind.
No, my heart.
Aww.
Yeah.
You're so caring, so considerate.
I mean, how else am I going to get all that blood flowing to my massive nose?
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
and by nose I mean
I have no retort for this anymore.
Oh, it's a great pickup line, guys. Come on, deal with it. Ladies love that pickup line.
Is that how you got your wife?
It is.
Oh. I thought it was a chicken joke.
It was a chicken joke. It was actually at the Olive Garden, and I told her, I said, "What's what do you give when you cross a brown cow and a chicken?" And I went, "Brown cow, chicken, wow cow," and she kind of snickered. And then I took her face and I just pushed it right into the pasta Alfredo. And I was like, "You laugh at me," and she laughed, and then she thought it was really funny. And then the table next to us was like, "Hey, are you guys okay?" And I was like, "Mind your own business. I'm telling jokes over here." And they were like, "Okay, gosh, calm down." And I just kind of stared at them for the rest of the evening, making it really awkward. And then it was awesome. And then finally, when I needed more breadsticks, what I started doing was I found out that the breadsticks never ended at Olive Garden, so I would just take little pieces of them like this, and I'd secretly lob it at the couple next to me, and they'd always look back. They're like, what's going on? I'm like, dude, it's not me. Knock it off. Why would I do that? That's crazy. And then they'd look back and they'd keep on eating their food, and I'd just take out a piece of bread and just throw it. And then I just kept on, and there was so much bread on the floor. It was amazing. And our waitress was great. I slipped her a 20 to keep sending me breadsticks. And I finally said, "Hey, can you do me a really big favor? I noticed that our table next to us, they're having the pasta primavera and the whole never-ending pasta bowl. Could you do me a favor and could you replace the Parmesan cheese with Comet toilet cleanser?" And she's like, "No, there's no way I could do that." I'm like, "Yeah, but could you really please just do me a solid? I'll slip you another $20. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. $40. She's like, "You got it." And I'm like, "Thank you so much." And so then she like brought the pasta primavera, and she like without missing a beat, like a boss. She, instead of having the peppermill, she actually held out the Comet can cleanser. So like there was no surprise. The guys, these morons at the table next to me, they knew that she was putting Comet, and they're like, wait, what's going on? She's like, would you like some more Parmesan cheese? Like, no, that's not Parmesan cheese. And like, she's like, yeah, it is. And then she just douses the Comet cleanser all over their pasta primavera right here at the Olive Garden. There's breadsticks all over the floor. It's amazing. I had the best time ever. And they're like, oh, this is crazy. You're nuts, lady. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't even realize that the cans all look the same. Normally it's a green can, and this is a green can. It's Comet on, oh, man, Parmesan cheese. And she was really selling it well. And I was really proud of her. And same with my wife. My wife was really proud of her, too. My wife still had a lot of Alfredo sauce all over her face. But I wanted to join her, so then what I did was I took some boiling hot zuppa Toscana, and I just like kind of like put my nose in it, which is why it's so red and big now, because my nose was not this big, probably 10 years ago. I mean, this was a product of the soup. And anyways, yeah, so that's how we met, and it's been a symbiotic relationship ever since, and it was perfect. That's how I met her. I bet you guys, our viewers, didn't know that. Now they know. You're silent there, neighborhood Nick. I don't quite understand what's...
Crispin the terrorist.
What is wrong with you, man? I'm just telling you how it goes. It was perfect.
It was perfect. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have the magical romantic story of Crispin Smith and how he won over his wife through poison and
no one died.
Abuse. And
no one died. No one was abused. Everyone took it.
Scalding hot
took it like a champ.
Permanent disfiguration of faces.
No. That you totally heard the wrong story. you did not hear. You did not hear the right love story. That is what my I just. But see, that's the thing.
Now you're having 2 children.
That's the way it is with this world. You may be well-intended. You may say a lot of really nice things, but people are going to hear what they want to hear. Like, I cannot believe I was at the gas station and I was trying to compliment the attendant on her weave. She looked really great. She had a lot of really, it was this awesome kind of cornrow thing going on. And I thought it was great, but for whatever reason, she thought I said she looked like a bunch of white trash. And I was like, I don't understand where on earth you got that from. I told you that your weave looked amazing. It looked like the guy from Sesame Street that lived in the trash can. Like, they had that whole Sesame Street episode where like it was the urban episode. And she thought I was calling her white trash. I mean, she was a bigger girl, but I mean, she was looking great, and I was complimenting her on just going out that extra mile. Now, granted, she could have had a little longer hair. She could have been able to, I think with time, her cornrows are going to get better with time. But I mean, it's just really, I love it. I love people that put things on their faces that really like the guy who put all the bedazzled diamonds on his eyes and got them implanted. I love that. That's great. I really do. It looks amazing, and it screams that people are out there looking for diversity and really looking to make a change. I like that. It's good. Like the guy. Now, honestly, I mean, I wouldn't be the one who's trying to cash a check from a church, but the guy who had the big, expletive U on his forehead, and then he went into a bank to try to cash a check, and apparently the funny thing is the check was from a church, but it was actually a stolen check. Did you hear about this story?
No, I have not heard this one.
Yeah, and so it's like, I mean, then you got people like that. I mean, like, don't, stay in your lane, because, I mean, clearly, the teller thought, secondly, like, well, first off, this guy with the big giant expletive U tattooed on his forehead at the bank trying to cash the check. I mean, the check should have been from a construction company or something like that. I could see that. But from a church like, Immaculate Conception Holiness or whatever, so she contacted the grantor of the check, and sure enough, the checkbooks had been stolen, and he was trying to write a fraudulent check on a church. You know.
Interesting.
So I mean, there are pieces of profiling. You know, every time I see someone with a wooden leg, I always try to keep my dog close. You know, just stuff like that. Profiling, it's important. Judging a book by its cover has really done well for this nation.
Oh.
And I think that honestly, that's what helps keep this world going around. Honestly, you know, book judging, and also reading up on people's history and the culture. That's very important. Knowing, you know, where we come from diversity wise. You know, just like the people at McDonald's that we just recently went to. You know, they were really having a hard time understanding that, you know, if they were just to, I don't know, deliver their order, enunciate, speak clearly, get it out there, and then move on, we could all have moved along more fastly, more efficiently. But they opted to stay there and just look at the menu like they'd never been to a McDonald's in their life before, but clearly judging by the weight and the sag of their SUV, because they're a bunch of fat white people, and the SUV itself was kind of leaning off to the left a little bit. Like the shocks themselves were damaged because of the weight factor on the vehicle itself. They obviously had some food in their life, and that's okay. But what really surprised me was just the sheer amount of time it took them to make their selection at the fast food place, when really, I mean, whatever they're going to order too much of it anyways, because there's no way you don't start an obesity problem, you know, with that level of damage to your vehicle. You know, very, very important stuff. You would never see them, you know, at a Panera Bread. And Panera Bread, by the way, isn't even organic stuff. Panera Bread, you guys are a lie upon lies. I can't even believe you people. You coming out there talking about your fresh soups and your stupid, you know, freshness guarantee crap. Every bit of that stuff is pre-processed, prepackaged, and diversified. And I get it, because they want to have consistency in the menu items. I would be very upset if I went to a Panera Bread. There's your phone again. I would be very upset if I went to a Panera Bread. What is up with that phone and being so doggone RF? I mean, like, seriously, what's it doing to your head? I mean, if you're even if you're just like, even if you're sleeping next to it, if it has that much RF that the microphones are picking up the RF from the GSM of your phone, dude, I hope you don't have cancer by, you know, 2026, because Jiminy Christmas, that thing is letting off some radiation for real. Anyways.
Oh, it's fine.
But with Panera, I get it. They want to be able to have diversity, but yet at the same time, they want to have consistency. I would be very upset if I went to a Panera Bread and I ordered the pumpkin bisque, right? And I ordered that, say, in Elk Grove. But then I went to Manhattan and I wanted to order the pumpkin bisque again because it's so delicious. And it was a totally different pumpkin bisque. I would be chiefly upset because I put my faith, my trust, and my dollars into Panera Bread's coffers for them to deliver consistency. So I understand why people are upset. You know, did you hear about the whole conspiracy about the whole Panera Bread soup thing?
I'm sure you can tell me.
Well, I'm telling you right now. That's what it was. It was that, you know, people were super upset that the kitchens are not making the soups and the foods fresh on site. They're kind of having these bags. They just kind of snip them open, put them in a pot, heat them up.
Nice.
Yeah, no. So I mean,
get it done.
But the couple, the family we saw at the McDonald's, there's no way we would have ever seen them at a Panera Bread. That's for sure. That was the main point. I mean, honestly, it's amazing. It's a feat of nature that the vehicle was able to operate under that sheer amount of weight. It was just.
It worked out apparently.
Oh, it was insane. But yeah, that's the point.
Interesting.
Yeah, you like that?
Sure.
What are we talking about today, anyways?
Apparently, we're talking about judging books by their covers.
Well, yeah. Do we have a problem? What's wrong, neighborhood Nick?
There's no problem.
Are you sure?
Nah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. You seem a little warm. Are you okay?
No, I'm good.
You comfortable?
I'm comfy.
So tell us what's on the news today, Neighborhood Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the news today, it's a Sunday, so nothing. Nothing happens on a Sunday. Everything's closed on Sunday. It is the Lord's Day.
No, that's not always closed on a Sunday.
That's what Kanye West says. Closed on a Sunday. Your magic fillet.
Kanye West. Do you listen to him much?
No, that's all I know.
Wait, so you were just trying to pose like you're a Kanye West fan, but you really aren't.
I'm more of a Lecrae fan.
Lecrae.
Andy Mineo. I like those two.
That's good.
Yeah. I did see that Japan has pulled out of hosting the World Cup in the future.
The World Cup?
That's not my phone this time. It's yours.
Well, I'll be darned. Huh.
It's not my phone. Yeah, so Japan is not going to be hosting the next World Cup. They're not doing that. Looks like they pulled out of the bidding process.
What is the World Cup?
World Cup is the largest soccer, football tournament in the world. Nations against nations.
Why do we have a World Cup?
Because we do sports around the world. And every country wants to prove that they have the best soccer or football players in the world. So it goes on every 4 years.
Why did Japan pull out?
Probably because of COVID, and I only read the headlines.
COVID, what's that?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
What happened to the flu?
Oh no. We're going to be pulled off of YouTube and every other podcasting thing in history.
Listen.
We're listening.
I don't
No, we're
have a problem with COVID. I had it.
Well, that's good.
I had it twice.
Congratulations.
And I have the antibody tests, and they proved it. Everything was good.
Good.
That's great. But
And you're vaccinated.
I am. But I don't see why it's the vaccine. I don't see how we're ever going to stop it.
We don't.
You know what I'm saying?
We can't.
I don't see how we can stop it, because if I'm vaccinated, and I've gotten it twice now, okay, and we're working towards trying to have a fully vaccinated population, and yet also we have other countries who are farther along than we are,
Yep.
and they're locking down when 2 people get sick, or when, say, the hospitalized population is actually vaccinated in other countries versus America. So I guess what I'm saying is none of it seems to be working. So what was the big deal to begin with?
Death.
We should, die. Let it just, we all die then.
And decrease the surplus population.
Because I'm not quite
That's
sure
also from Scrooge.
Huh. What? Scrooge?
Mm-hmm.
He said that?
Yep.
He didn't like the population either, huh?
Surplus population.
Surplus population.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not necessarily doom and gloom, but at the same time, I'm just like, we've got to live. We've got to be able to try to get out and do some work and do what we can. But at the same time, I don't see any approach working. Canada, Europe, Germany, Australia, Netherlands.
Australia, stop killing puppies.
None of these approaches are working, and America's approach isn't working. Yeah, ICU beds are crazy full, but the ICU beds are crazy full in Israel too. They're
true.
crazy full in Germany. They're crazy.
true.
So it's like,
Every country.
everywhere you say, "Oh, ICU bed," in Spain, they're like, "Oh, they're leaving them out on the streets." So I don't know. It's just kind of a thing we have to learn to live with and be like, well, some of us are gonna die.
Apparently.
I don't know, because what we're doing right now isn't working. What do you think?
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Ugh, you're so diplomatic. What we're doing isn't working, period. And the vaccinations aren't working. The boosters don't want to, no one wants, it's just, I don't know. I mean, and everyone's still locking down.
Yep.
Lots
of people will never leave their homes ever again.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We've got
Permanent Amazon customers.
people who are super fearful now. Like, this has really scared the bejeebus out of people, and now people are just like locked in their homes when, I mean, that's not healthy.
It is what it is now.
Well, you're just a real parrot of goodness.
There is no goodness with COVID.
You just don't happen to have any.
It's just sadness and depression and death and destruction and murder and mayhem and government overreach after government overreach, and we're all going to be locked in and sent to the bloody gulag.
Right. Yeah, we are. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Except you. You're vaccinated.
Thank goodness.
I'm not.
Well, whatever. We'll
so
find
I've
out.
been sent to the gulag.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That wasn't exactly the point I was trying to make, but I think it's fair enough. But I mean, honestly, man, we should just if that was the case, they could get McDonald's involved. That would be a great idea.
Just put the vaccine in the food.
Yeah. Why not just let's start injecting all the meat with antibodies, because then people just start, because you heard about the guy who's they're going to come up with a vaccine for the kids, and now it's a nasal spray.
Oh.
I'm like, so if we're able to say, okay, we can vaccinate the kids with a nasal spray instead of a needle, then why couldn't we come up with a way of just putting it in the McDonald's meat?
Make it really made out of crack.
Yeah, dude. I mean, everyone's going to McDonald's to get their vaccines.
There you go.
Everybody has, and here's the thing, everybody gets at least one McDonald's burger, and I guarantee you that the crazy conspiracists that thrive on McDonald's, the ones that are have their rebel flag and their neck beards and their Jeep Grand Cherokees and all their weapons of, they feel like, they're little militia guys running around here with their not an ounce of military training, just they're just cosplaying.
The survival guys.
Yeah, there's the survival guys who are cosplaying around and got their buck knife and all their things hoorah, America. Those guys,
Yeehaw!
They literally survive on McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They would stop eating McDonald's if it was made public that the vaccine is in the McDonald's burgers.
And then they would lose a lot of weight.
They would lose a phenomenal amount of weight.
Which is good for everyone.
Actually, if the general public could lose, a collective 7% around the waistline, that would mean we'd have to stop using seatbelt extenders on airlines, which is a huge deal. I cannot believe. Have you heard about this?
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
There was a flight.
What is this?
There was a flight that I was on. It was a Southwest flight, and they literally had to wait for an inbound flight to get seatbelt extenders, because that means everybody on our flight was too fat and they didn't have enough seatbelt extenders to fit the fat people in their seats.
Were you one of them?
No, do I look like... I mean, I can still fit in one seat.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's a plus. But there are people who have to pay for two seats.
Oh.
And God forbid you're one of those people who thinks that they can fit into one seat and you're rolling over into seat number 2 and someone else is sitting in seat number 2 having to just, compete with that fat panis that's just kind of hanging over the seat side, just like Jabba the Hutt, just kind of just bleeding out into the second seat, and you have to push on it all through the entire flight. That's torture. That's torture. So yeah, they're called seatbelt extenders. But it's just.
Why do we still wear seatbelts on planes?
Well, I guess I could say that.
Is it only because of turbulence?
Yeah. Think about it. Would you? That turbulence stuff is pretty wild. You're moving at the same speed as the aircraft in the same direction, but as soon as the aircraft, you're not physically attached to the aircraft. You're only at equilibrium with the aircraft. But if the aircraft itself is to pop up or pop down at a very fast rate of speed, you're still moving in the same direction previously because you're not a fixture, a permanent fixture of the aircraft. The seat belts help make you be that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I love watching school bus crash videos because, I mean, that's the best way to, determine how seatbelts work. Those kids getting all flown around all the back like rag dolls, it's hilarious.
That's where all the cool kids sit.
Yeah, all the cool kids sit in the very back, which is also the worst place to sit for the center of dynamics and gravity. If you watch it's great. The bus driver falls asleep and then they're going for a drive and then the kids just like hit the ceiling, they fall back down, they hit the ceiling. It's great stuff. It's quality entertainment, and that happens because again, no one's wearing seatbelts and the kids are a part of the bus. But now the bus is starting to send people. It's great.
And destruction.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect.
We always like good
I
destruction.
think I scratched my leg, but oh well.
Uh-oh.
I don't know how I did it.
Radio frequency.
Yeah, it's true. But what's Shibu up to these days?
It's going down. We apologize to everyone who invested their life savings into Shiba. I am sorry. We failed you.
What? Is it going down again?
I don't know. I don't have the app.
Did you see this guy? Look at this moron. It's my favorite. Watch this guy. He's trying to drift on the beach, not wearing a seatbelt.
No!
Yeah. He's done. So what I'll just tell you the folks I'm looking at here. It was basically the driver of a Jeep. He's trying to drift on a beach. He catches the sand, flips it, and he's ejected from the top. And then
he doesn't have a roll cage.
And then he just kind of cracks down, boom, and he just hits the top of that. It's awesome. Yep.
The things you find on Reddit.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. So anyways, what else are we talking about today, Nick?
Apparently death and destruction and fast food catastrophes. Did you know that I believe it's the Max 738 or something, is now ceasing to exist?
I heard a little something about that, but tell me more.
Countries are no longer buying any more. And Boeing is going to retire the aircraft completely. Apparently it's a failure.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I could have told you that.
You did tell us that.
I did, didn't I?
Another prediction from the Sound Guys podcast.
It's amazing that we're just here. When I could have told, I mean that's well, I mean if there's one thing that shows how, if there's a point of validity, that's one thing I can claim ownership to. Told you it was a trash aircraft.
And it was.
Boeing finally got the memo.
They're getting rid of it. It has been deemed too unsafe.
It's their own fault.
It is.
I mean, Boeing should have known better.
I don't know the engineers who thought that was a good idea.
I don't know of any engineer who would have, or why they would have signed off on it. That's the thing.
Because they were making bank.
I guess, but I mean, like...
Or it's one of those things, like, you're working on this amazing project, and then you reach the end, and you're like, we have no choice. This has to work. And then it doesn't work. But you tell the world it will work.
Yeah, you tell the world. I don't know of any application or practice that is something that you can try to fundamentally change with software. That's just, I mean, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's like my coffee cup here.
The coffee cup
holds liquid.
It does.
Okay.
Very good liquid. Not right now, though.
It's a cup. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what makes it work as a cup is that it's a cylinder. Okay. Not necessarily a must for a container that holds liquid. It just needs to be a closed container. Okay.
Just has to have a bottom and
with a
wall.
bottom. Yeah, yeah. And it's fairly liquid tight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as soon as I remove one of the elements of this cup, of this device, it no longer functions as a cup. Removing the base, no matter how much I try to do with it, if I pour a liquid into it, it's going to come out the bottom.
Yep.
Now, a software patch in this particular instance would be, I don't know, possibly taking a piece of paper or cardboard or something less suitable, putting it on the bottom temporarily and being like, okay, cool, now it's a cup again. But the water is still going to dribble out somewhere. There's still going to be something that's not nearly as efficient as if it had a sealed bottom. And it's a terrible analogy that I'm trying to make. But with the 747 MAX or 787 MAX or whatever,
The plane.
the plane itself, it was not aerodynamically sound. The engines were too big. I've said this from the very freaking beginning. It would not fly because of the way they damaged the aerodynamics of the bird itself. And so they tried basically to create the stupid software patch that would just put the plane in a constant nose up position. So the pilots, it's almost like the same reason why I kind of get concerned about like our autopilot crap on the vans or cars, because, you know, back in the day, now you can disengage and that's fine. But what will happen if you can't disengage that? So hear me out. With like old school vehicles, I can go down the road, take my hands off the steering wheel a little bit, kind of let my hands hover above the steering wheel, and feel if it pulls to the right or to the left.
Yep.
Okay, so we know that, all right, so the car is pretty well aligned, everything's great. Well, with the new lane departure systems, right, the van, even if it starts to pull to the left, the computer is going to bring it back on course. The computer will always accommodate for a little left or right pull. Well, you see, like, so how then can a person calibrate, you know, and see if how the alignment is of the vehicle? Well, by the same default, I guess it was called MCATs. I don't know if that's the name of the software or not, MCAT software. The MCAT software on the plane constantly put the plane in a nose-up situation to accommodate for all the extra drag and crap that was going on. So instead of a pilot constantly pulling back on the stick, the pilot could just fly normally, in theory, but the plane's fly-by-wire system was actually nosing up to accommodate, and that's not a calibrated aircraft. It's just not. So good for Boeing. Did they lose anything out of it in terms of like what's their?
I think they're taking a hit.
What's their stock at?
That I don't know.
You know, for someone who.
That's your phone.
Yeah, my phone's super close to. I guess I'm getting the joink of.
I threw my phone across the room, so it's not mine anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Just so you're clear. I'm not putting myself into a cancerous situation.
Not anymore, but apparently I am.
And he's putting both of us at risk.
Yeah.
Just because he won't wear a mask.
What? Jeez.
That's what they say about COVID. COVID and cancer, it's the same thing, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
You know, Boeing's still doing pretty good, buddy.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
I mean, honestly, the Boeing stock is... they took a pretty big tumble. Oh, wait, that was March 13th of 2020.
That was last year.
Yeah, that was when the whole market tanked.
Mm-hmm.
So, Boeing has not yet recovered from their highs.
Oh.
Boeing came off on $422 a share on 2019. So they're still trading at $212 a share.
No
But,
one's traveling still.
Yeah, I know.
We want to travel. We do.
Do we?
I do. I miss planes.
You miss planes? Planes are
I like planes. I like traveling out of the country.
terrible.
I want to go back to Taiwan.
I think I'd rather just drive. I like driving everywhere.
You can't drive to Taiwan.
Well, you're going to have to fly somewhere. But I would rather do the majority of it as driving because the planes are just ridiculous. I mean, honestly,
I don't know about that. I haven't had much trouble with planes.
I've flown every carrier, and I mean, in terms of just, international carriers, I like Lufthansa.
Lufthansa?
No, Lufthansa.
Lufthansa. Luft.
I like them, but domestic carriers, I think really it still comes down to Southwest. It's probably the best
No.
bet.
No. Not a Southwest fan.
The reason why I'm a Southwest fan is primarily just because it's more straightforward pricing.
I always get stuck in the middle of someone.
Well, see it because you're buying the cheap seats.
That's what I do.
Yep. So, I mean, if you pay extra more, you get the actual business select.
Nope.
First boarding, first seatings.
Not paying extra money.
And on top of it, their app, pretty functional, and it's compatible with the Choice Hotel network. So we get that. Yeah. I'm down for that.
I think I mainly fly United for domestic flights.
I used to be a United fan.
I like United still.
I used to be a United fan until they started charging a monthly premium on the Red Carpet Club. And honestly, it used to be worth it to fly to get to the lounge access and all the VIP perks. Because back when I was working for the post office, I'd travel and I'd fly United. Usually get the bump to first.
Oh, that's
And,
nice. I've never flown first.
It's same, just bigger seats,
That's nice.
and they give you value to make you feel like you're getting something, but you're, eh. But where it was at was the clubs. But see, the downside was that the clubs are privately managed per airport, and so you ended up having, like, say, Denver and SFO and Atlanta, and even Reagan. They had these clubs that you could go to, like a lounge, and the lounge would have places to charge your phone, charge your laptop, grab some free food. There was a cocktail hour, stuff like that. Kind of made it like, ooh, you're something. And I think that it was an entire shift in the airline industry. Flying used to kind of be between the elites, the business travelers, and then the families. But everybody sort of had an understanding. People would still kind of treat flying as something extra more special than just like riding the bus. Now, basically about as of 2011, I just gave up on it because it became dealing with just riffraff. Everybody at the terminal is in their pajamas. Everybody,
That's true. Everyone likes to fly casual and comfortable now.
there's very few suit coats, very few blazers, very few,
I still wear a blazer.
Yeah, but I mean, it's there's no one else who shares that sentiment. You see what I'm saying? It used to, when you flew business or you flew first, you would find other travelers on the road who shared the same camaraderie as you.
Yeah.
And now, honestly, a lot of them are doing like NetJets and things like that. And honestly, I like the NetJets model. I just don't think it's
I don't know what NetJets is. What is that?
private charter.
Oh, okay.
It's not economical enough for our profit margin. Honestly, if there were projects, I don't know. Maybe that's a problem with me thinking we could, value-wise. I don't think that some of the services we provide are valuable enough to charge enough for us to be.
Oh, maybe we need to charge more.
Well, maybe, but there has to be a value-added point. the NetJets model is
We could add value to make it where if people try to contact us during an event, that customer service charge.
I don't know, maybe, but I'm just talking. I think really something that someone wants. It's not going to come down to sound because 9 times out of 10, yes, people that hear good sound, people that hear a good engineer, they're like, oh wow, no, that's worth it.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, most people are like, it's good enough.
Yeah.
And that sucks when you're trying to actually do a value add.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I think from a video standpoint or something else that really allows you to cast your creative niche, or even like on an installation. I think an installation would be something that you could charge a more premium for. Like, there's, we had that review from that customer, which actually I still think is probably one of the best reviews ever. Apparently it took the other a competitor or someone like 3 site visits and they still couldn't figure it out. They were like, this is nothing wrong with the system. And then I got the call and I showed up and I diagnosed it in 5 minutes. And the client was like, are you kidding me? Wow, that's the problem? So yeah, that's the problem. And so I can see us in that niche area where like someone from Kentucky is like, there's no one in the country that's been able to fix this problem. Can you fix it? You see what I'm saying? And then the question then comes down to, well, how much is the solution worth? Because if we've come to the point to where we're the only business in the country that can come up with these solutions to solve these problems or come up with these ideas, yeah, now we're talking NetJets. You see what I'm saying? Now we're talking, okay, yeah, I will be on a private charter and I will see you in 3 hours. You know what I mean? That's where I see the NetJets working. But with United, I originally had that more of the, okay, I'll be on the next flight and I'll be at this facility and get there. And then I had these cool little things. But then the lounges started to close. And it's just... So United lost their value, in my opinion. United lost all of its luster. It used to be a thing, and also United used to only be the only airline that really had a competitive credit card. That was the big thing. When you were gonna go out and get travel, you would get a credit card that would allow you to kind of accrue more miles and yada yada yada. Well, now the point system has totally changed, where you can get a card from almost any institution and still accrue good points.
Yep.
On whatever airline of choice.
That's very true. And you can still, on top of that, get your airline cards and use it for everything.
Exactly. So there's no reason really to stick with a loyal... There's no brand loyalty, in my opinion.
Not right now.
Because there's nothing pushing me on one carrier or the only other. And the reason why I chose Southwest is because I don't like to have a lot of apps on my phone, number one. But number two, the Southwest app is compatible with Choice Hotels, so I can still get the hotel points. And then 2, it's compatible with the Enterprise, account, so I can still do that as well. So, from a point standpoint, no matter which card I use, if I use American Express or Visa or whatever, through that ecosystem, I'm going to still accrue points on what I use the most. So that's why I went Southwest. And they're not bad. They're not a bad carrier. I know you've had a bad problem with them because you think that
It's like the quality in of air flights.
Well, I mean, they all are.
No.
I mean, the majority of the fleets are falling apart on every airline. Every airline is
Namely domestic.
they're all falling apart.
International airliners seem to be holding up a lot better than the domestic ones.
Well, yeah, because they're also making less flights. They're just longer flights. That's all. And, I mean, they still have to also handle up certain standards. I think you should, though. You need to see more of this country first. I'm telling you.
Yes.
I don't know why you don't. I don't know why you don't. You should take a big, giant road trip. We would totally give you an SUV. Go out there, gas card if that's what it takes. Neighborhood Nick.
There's no time.
Get out there and go see. We got a chance to explore the real northern territories of America this year.
Like Alaska?
Yeah, Alaska too, but no, Alaska's overrated. Talking about continental 48.
So like Nebraska or farther north
No,
to
Montana. Nebraska is terrible. I'm talking about Montana and then the Dakotas.
Oh, the Dakotas are nice.
Missoula, Montana. That's a hip place.
Missoula,
Montana.
Okay.
Very hip place. I like it. And I mean, there's enough recreation out there to get out and do some hiking and see some really pretty things.
Oh.
And then Idaho Falls.
I've heard about Idaho Falls.
Yeah, those two places really seem to hit the spot. But I mean, I don't know really what in terms of politics anymore these days. I'm sure they're all what they are. But I mean, you got to get out there and go see a few things in old neighborhood Nick.
I plan to eventually do a road trip through the United States. I just need time and money.
Well, we already said you got the money thing taken care of.
I need the time. But I mean, I've been to Texas, Florida, New York, DC, Utah, Indianapolis,
Arizona,
Nevada, Oregon a few times, up into Seattle, Washington, Hawaii. Drove through New Mexico. Not much in New Mexico.
No.
Cute. Denver. I've been to Denver.
That's right.
Denver's nice. Very high up there. You can really feel the altitude difference.
Dude, you can.
So I mean, I've seen a good
Cheyenne, Wyoming. You can feel the distance. Oh,
I bet. But I've seen more of the United States than a lot of people have.
yeah, I guess that's fair.
San Antonio is probably one of my favorite cities in America.
What? Why?
Just the history with the Alamo and the Riverwalk and
All right, fair
looking
enough.
into that. I mean, the Riverwalk in San Antonio is absolutely stunning. And especially if you get on the little boats and you take the little tour on the river, go through all the shops. That's really nice in San Antonio.
I think you'd like Appomattox, Virginia.
I would. DC, I love DC. Not because of the homeless problem, but all the history and the monuments. I used to do a little tour guide thing with groups, so I used to teach people about American history as we're going through the tour from monument to monument, coming all the way around, starting at the Washington and then ending at the Jefferson.
Yeah.
Takes all night.
Yeah, I bet.
It's fun, though, because they're open all the time. You can just walk through all the monuments, and it's way cooler at night than during the day.
Yeah, no. I know the guy, actually, it's kind of funny. The guy who does the Washington, the Lincoln Memorial, and all those. That's all ran by the National Park Service.
Yep. And I always like pointing out the typo in the Lincoln Memorial.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So I always tell them about that, tell people all about the Kilroy at the World War II Memorial. Because a lot of people don't know that. Everyone overlooks the World War I Memorial.
Really?
Do you know what the World War I Memorial is?
No.
It's actually just a pavilion.
Huh.
Because back then, it was like, we don't want this massive thing to remind us of this tragedy, so we're going to build this little pavilion, and they put it up, and people just ignore it, because it's right across the street from the Martin Luther King Jr. and FDR Memorial. which is much more massive and magnificent. But it's just this little pavilion, and you go up to it. It would look like any city stage center kind of thing in a park. So there's like spider webs all over the place, and
Really?
yeah, it's very, very just not looked after properly in comparison to all the big popular ones. But then you look at like some of the pictures of Woodrow Wilson. He was at it. Herbert Hoover was at it, doing like memorials at it. It was a hopping place. And then
Crazy.
after World War II, then we start getting all these massive giant memorials. And that's where you get all the waterfalls and going all the way, like the Korean Memorial is the one that's always the most. I think the Korean Memorial is the coolest out of all memorials that we really have, just because of the design. And especially if you hit it at night when it's dark, you have all the soldiers going through what looks to be like rice fields and everything, with the wall in the background with the ghosts of people. Really, really cool, really kind of creepy, especially if you hit it right when there's fog blowing through.
Yeah, I bet.
That makes it really, really auspicious. And then you can do the whole walk, go to the World War I, FDR, Martin Luther King Jr., and then you go around the pond, walk all the way around to the Jefferson Memorial, and then you can walk back to your hotel.
How long's the trek?
Takes a couple hours. If you want to do everything and talk about things.
Good little walk, though.
Oh, very good walk. I did it one time with flip-flops, and I had blisters on the bottom of my feet. And then I almost missed my flight the following day.
Nice.
So I was sprinting down through the airport, and I get to the gate as they're closing everything.
Just like Home Alone.
I have blood coming out of my feet because of the blisters popping and everything. It was gross.
Just like Home Alone.
Yeah, and I was like, can I still get on my plane? And the guy at the gate sprints down, calling on his radio, "Don't close the door yet! Don't close the door yet!" Get on the plane as it's like starting to pull away from everything.
What'd you do about your bloody feet?
I bled on the ground.
Yuck.
And then I had to run through San Francisco International for a connecting flight because the flight got delayed.
Because of you.
Yep. And so I had 10 minutes to make my connecting flight in SFO.
Well, you have done this yourself.
I've done it a few times. It's fun.
That's another thing about flights.
They never go exactly where you want.
I just don't like that whole hurry up, wait, rush. If I can avoid a lot of that as much as possible, boy howdy, I'd rather do that.
But you get a cool story to tell.
No, it used to be a cool story to tell.
I think it's still a cool story.
That's what I'm saying. It used to be cool. But that's now a conversation, and that is the Thanksgiving table conversation. They made you wait how long in line? Oh my goodness. Your flight was delayed by how long? Oh. People stop and talk about that. Mm-hmm. That is the American conversation at Christmas and Thanksgiving.
It's true.
Oh, how long was your flight? Oh, did you get delayed in Denver? Oh, I bet you did. Oh, you had to stay in the airport all night? Oh. It was like that.
Some good conversation right there.
It's the same conversation. It's the same conversation we have all the time. Now, I'm not discrediting the rest of the whole, like, the monuments. That's a cool story. But the rest of it's like
a bloody mess.
It's dumb. It's a conversation like, oh wow, you drove all the way from Iowa to here.
How is that any different?
Well, it's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same, but it is no longer like, it's not the stereotypical. Oh, I waited in the connecting terminal and I missed my flight. It's a little different.
Slightly.
I
got stuck on the Bay Bridge for 4 hours.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is travel and infrastructure in general is the common conversation next to the weather. Next to the weather, we talk.
Mighty fine weather we're having today.
Yep, we talk about travel and weather, and
As long as the creek don't rise.
I'd rather not be a part of that conversation when it comes to the airlines. I think it's a better conversation to have when you're on the road.
Interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah, comment. Because here's the thing. I mean,
Are you guys drivers or are you plane takers?
your girlfriend, she thinks she's a plane taker.
She got stuck in Vegas for almost like 7 hours.
Yeah, okay. Well, and guess what? Here's the funny thing. In 7 hours, you could have driven from Vegas to
Yep.
San Francisco, and you would have been home.
It's true. It's true. It was a messed up situation. Southwest in Vegas can't get their act together.
Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, maybe so. But yeah, so I don't know, folks. I think it's better to be a driver than a flyer.
I
But
think flying's better. I do love to drive, though. I do love to drive. I just love traveling. Any form of travel. When I was in Taiwan, I loved the subways. I love the trains. The only thing I don't like is buses.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not a big fan of buses. I wish that Amtrak could figure out how to take the bus out of it. Because that's cool. You know, if you could find a way to work your way around not having to do the bus for some connectings between station and station,
Yeah.
or get better times, because the one out of Reading starts at 2 a.m. That's ridiculous.
The Amtrak?
Yeah.
Oof. No one's got time for
that's
that.
the only time. So like Logan, however, though, the same train that I would have to catch at 2 a.m., Logan can catch in Reno, I think it's 7.
To
so-
where?
To Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he took the train from Reno to Salt Lake City, and it's perfect.
That would be much better. Much better.
It's an amazing train ride. I mean, it's a little longer, but the point is, I mean,
You can actually focus on stuff. You
You
can get things
focus.
done on the way.
that's what he did.
You get to see better landscape.
He had his laptop. He was up in the sky room there. He was just working at a little desk.
You're good to go.
Got emails. Got a chance to take a little nap.
That's why I like the trains in Taiwan also, because I could just sit, sleep.
Yeah,
And I didn't have to focus on the road. I could talk to the person next to me, or pull out my laptop, get some work done, because it was also quiet.
yeah. The trains are quiet. Drawing room is nice. Definitely want to try it one of these days with the family. Get everyone on a drawing room with an ensuite bathroom,
Oh, that would be nice.
and the whole thing, and just
Yeah.
hit it. The thing is, though, it's like, well, I think what we'd end up doing is we'd take a train, depending on the travel time, maybe take it out of Reno and then keep on going and maybe end up in Oklahoma or Mississippi. And then from there, grab a rental car, do your little go around area, and then go back to your, you see what I'm saying? So it's your home base essentially.
Yeah.
And then you just catch the train back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As long as there's seats available.
Well, you reserve your room. But yeah. I think it's
I think we've killed.
yet another time. I genuinely appreciate the folks tuning in and listening to us for a little background noise. Daily dose or the weekly dose or the monthly dose of background noise and rant.
Sometimes it's meaningful.
Sometimes it's meaningful, sometimes it's full of rants and rantage, but whatever.
Sometimes it's just pure sadness, doom, and gloom. Mm-hmm. And then other times it's overly joyful and exciting.
And full of, and yeah, we're educating, enlightening, and entertaining.
We try, at least. We occasionally give sound advice.
I like that. We occasionally give sound advice. It's good. Well, I'm Crispin Smith.
And I am the Neighborhood Nick, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching this on YouTube. Hit subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. And if you're listening to us, well, hopefully we didn't put you to sleep and you're able to just keep on trucking with whatever you're doing. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe, rate us amazingly on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and leave a comment or a review. Help us climb up that algorithm, recommend us to your friends, make us popular. We rely on your support.
Yep.
And I stopped checking Patreon, so
Yeah.
I don't think we have anyone supporting us on Patreon.
I would just say forget it for now. Until we start seeing some random bucks coming in.
I don't think I've linked it to any bank account.
Well, that's great. That's great. It's good. Well done.
But if we have, I can check the analytics on Anchor and see if anyone new is listening.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, try
We'll see.
that. That, or like I said, and if we have to start doing gimmicks, get that whole P.O. box that we have people send us random things that we just.
And then we'll
up.
just open up a Twitch channel at the same time. And
Why not? We'll have, for every sit-down episode, we'll have one live Twitch episode where we open up stuff and get the guys from Sweet Baby Ray's to come over and, hang out and show us how it's done.
That's true. We could do that. We could totally market everything.
Could have a shuffleboard competition.
Maybe we should just go ahead and get a Twitch thing.
We should have a cornhole competition
I would
live.
Win. I would win.
Well, there you go. We might have a cornhole competition now because, neighborhood Nick over here feels like he's like the cornholio.
I'm the champion. The king. The cornhole king. Emperor.
The cornholio.
The king and emperor.
The big hole of corn. The cornhole.
Yes.
Cornhole king.
Okay, that's enough.
Hole of corn.
That's enough.
Every kernel.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Just popping. Popping into each hole. Colonel King.
Thank you. And
Colonel Corn King Sanders over here. Neighborhood Nick.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and night, wherever you're listening. We have someone from Scotland who listens to this.
I love those people from Scotland.
I know. They're such interesting
just
folks.
give you a big hug. Big hug.
And then Nepal. We have Scotland and Nepal.
I give them a hug, too. Big hug.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Cornhole.
Yes.
Hey!